Alrighty, hey guys. I have a pretty bad cold, so I hope that doesn't bother you. Alright guys, I have a bad cold today, and I'm letting my dogs hang out with me because I haven't been able to get them out to the dog park or anything, and so they've been a little cooped up, so they've been real loving today. Look at this. Okay. Hey guys, January 2nd, 2019. I'm here today with my dogs. I haven't been able to get them out to the dog park and they've been all riled up, so I wanted to get a quick video in before I go. I slept in and this cold has just kind of beat me up a little bit. But this video, you need to copy, you need to copy, you need to copy this video. Why? Because this video is going to be the best one I've given you so far as specifics of tricks they're using to come against you. Look outside. And so this is going to be specific tricks they're using to come against you and the tools and tactics of doing that. Copy this video. This is going to be incredibly important to everybody out there that's going through gang stalking and isn't understanding how they're doing it, the nature of it and such. And I'm going to expose that right now. I promise you, copy this video. Please go on YouTube. They have free software, how to copy YouTube videos. Boom, copy it, have a copy, share this. If you're on Facebook groups, share this. This one's extremely important, and I'm going to get exactly right to the point. The one thing I'll tell you is I'm a follower of Jesus Christ. I am non-denominational. There's no church that I claim. There's no denomination I claim. I'm a Holy Spirit-filled, born-again follower of Jesus Christ. My Bible tells me that for God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should never perish but have everlasting life. I'm not going to go into any more Christianity. In the comments section, somebody was trying to say and discredit people like myself as Salvation Army soldiers, because what you need is, you know, if you're hurting and you need somebody to pray for you and get out there, the Salvation Army areas in the entire world. I don't work for Salvation Army. A Salvation Army soldier is a selfless person who has given their life to Jesus Christ. They're following Jesus Christ. They're preaching and proclaiming the gospel message of Jesus Christ proudly and unashamed, as I do. In the messages, they were just trying to discredit me and other people, Salvation Army soldiers. I don't speak for the Salvation Army business. Don't care about that at all. I don't want any part of that. I don't care about any business aspects, anything. I'm talking about the Salvation Army soldiers, the men and women, my brothers and sisters in Christ who have given their lives to Jesus Christ, to helping and serving you. Anything I've ever done in the ministry, I've never accepted one single penny in my life for doing so. I have the ability now to put together an internet radio program and some different things. I don't have the money to do it. So what did I do? I put up a website as fast as I could, and now I'm going to take a mortgage to start a ministry for each and every one of you. Whether you believe in Christ, this doesn't matter. If you're a person that's a target of gang stalking, victim of abuse, any type of abuse whatsoever, I love you, God loves you, and I serve you, and this is for you, okay? So, why I say that is somebody was putting messages, oh, the Salvation Army is in with the Mormons and they're doing this stuff themselves and blah, blah, blah. That's not true, and why would I be doing this? I'm here to serve you, and that's not true and will never be true. Like I said, I'm talking about the Salvation Army soldiers, the men and women of the ministry. No one else, nothing else. That's who I'm referring to. So, all the isms. Mormonism has nothing to do with me. Catholicism, nothing to do with me. Adventism, Seventh-day Adventism, nothing to do with me. I want nothing to do with any denominations. I serve Jesus Christ of the Holy Bible. That's who I serve, and that's who that I will always serve. So, so I just want to get that clear right off the bat. Okay. Now, there's no more Christian things, whatever. This is right to the point. You need to copy this, share this on your Facebook groups and all different groups that you can have a copy of this in case it gets deleted or in case I get deleted. So, here we go. And I want to tell you, I've never been happier in my entire life, and I'm very proud to be able to serve you and to speak and proudly proclaim my faith and things. So I appreciate that. If you ever did want to know anything about that, just ask me personally. Everything is intended to be like deception and a magic trick where something is occurring, but you don't know how or why. Saying things to you as people pass by directly at you that they would only know from intimate knowledge of surveillance, phone conversations, and things recently that you've had. That's, one tactic very common. When they enter your house and use psychological tactics while you're away, they use the community snitches, the informant snitches, the paid confidential informant snitches, and police to report your local, your location visually, as to make sure you can't find out that they are in your house, are doing things to your house or outside of your house. And what I mean by that is they don't just depend on electronic surveillance, GPS in your phone, your car, and different things like this. They always have physical eyes on you, so there's no way that you can find out what they're doing. And if you were to the point where you were going to go out to your car and they were in the operation of going against that, targeting it like mine did, like to cut the steering wheel, they put somebody in front of you to distract you. Hey, do you know how to get here, there? And they would hinder you from doing that. So there's several layers in place so that by the time they get to the second layer of protection, so they won't be exposed for doing this, they already have 3 more layers, and at the second protection, they already have a pretty much 100% probability that the person won't be able to expose them. So then it goes well beyond that. These are professional people. These are not idiots. Let's see. For me, they'd like to, when they'd enter my house or do different things in psychological operations, anytime I'd leave, they'd leave garbage in front of my house every single time I'd leave. That way, then if you said to someone too that like people are doing that or reported that, they'd say you're crazy and that garbage blows in the wind and that's a coincidence and you're a nut job. Okay, they will always use the community snitches, confidential informant snitches, first responders, paramedics, fire department, and police. So there's a network of people, so they never run out of people, so they use the appropriate people for the appropriate situations, areas, and locations that you're at. So if you're at the gym, they're going to have somebody go into the gym that works out to watch you and things, so that then when you leave, they've already slandered to the manager and everybody else, the trainers and things about you to that gym. So when you leave, these snitches will tell who you made contact with so they can approach them and tell them the slander and lies against you also. So depending on where you're at and who's available, there's no shortage of these individuals to commit these felonies, as the misused law enforcement tools and state tools and government surveillance tools are being feloniously used against you, the gang-stalked victim, targeted individual, etc. When you're at a gym, let's say example, I already talked about that. They talk to the managers, employees, and everybody to slander you. Okay. So that's why you might understand too that you go to talk to somebody, you have a good conversation, you think, oh, this is a nice guy, and next time you talk to him, you can tell something's off and that they've been approached and talked to about you. Your neighborhood, they go around and talk to slander to all your neighbors about you, organized as a felony. They will always pay to set up surveillance as close to you as they can, and your house will have video and audio surveillance inside. I used to be an electrical lineman, and they would use fake transformers to surveil like drug dealers and people like that in the areas. And a lineman like myself would have came and gone up to the pole and put a fake transformer and even hooked it up to the power so it looks like it's real, but the connections inside are not connected. So, or they could actually connect like a light to it to make it look good too. There was different options and ways to do that. And then it had, video surveillance inside it for the police. Stingray is their favorite tool used to intercept all communications in your areas. It is acting as a fake cell phone tower. So whether you're streaming a Roku or doing this or that or whatever, all of that communication, all that information, and all those things go in there. So all you have to do is Google Stingray. It's a tool that's being used in surveillance, completely a tool being abused, and many people and privacy experts and stuff have gone against this because of the misuse and the probability and possibility of this surveilling people illegally like us. Your electronics are completely compromised in relaying all information you send, like computers, malware, surveillance programs installed, the phones and everything are the same thing. They would enter my home, and then when I would come home, they would already be inside or my garage. So let's say I came home, parked in the garage, put the garage door down. they've already entered, and then they would cut notches in my steering wheel and do different things and break things and put things out of place. So then I would be inside my home, and there was no windows in like my garage doors and things. So then I would be home. They have full access to knowing where I'm at in the house, what I'm doing in the house, and all this is relayed back and forth. They accomplish their objective there, and then next time I go out to my car, I don't know from that time frame if I come out 8 hours later. Then you have people frantically trying to look at their DVR system and stuff, and everything is set up to expose these. My cameras have been broken, turned, and then you'd see blotchy like figures and things that there was different ways that they'd use to get rid of that. A lot of times though, if they did go do something, they can erase that portion. You don't know when it happened. You fast forward on your DVR and things are done very quick strategically, and it's difficult to find, but a lot of times it'll be completely wiped. So they're not perfect at all, and the thing is, when they're not using professionals and some of these dummies that are confidential informants and things, that's where they're not professional enough that you'll be able to notice a pattern. It took me a long time to figure out some of these things. You know, I would drive specifically in the right lane all the time and turn right when I was in the right lane to watch how different surveillance vehicles and things would follow me and their own patterns, so that then I could mix it up a little bit, go into stores, and when I would normally not use airplane mode, put it on airplane mode, or I'd use airplane mode a lot so they wouldn't know when I was going to use airplane mode, so they couldn't catch up with certain things. And I found that you can outwit them. It's not incredibly hard to do, but because of the psychological parts, and you have no idea that this is coming at you, the majority of all individuals won't be able to do that. So this information is going to be highly important to them. Copy this video, share this video with your targeted individuals and different gang stalking groups, please. You know, so example, okay, so I'd go out grocery shopping and I'd have multiple bags. They already know that I can only carry so many bags in. I'd have to leave my house, go back out to the car, get some more bags, come back into the house. Come into the house with the first set of bags, everything's fine, set them right on my counter, go back out to get another set. They were already inside my house, turn on the heat on my burner of my stove. They love doing that all the time. So I'd leave and come back and hear my burner is white on, so I have a burner with a flame on my gas stove, and they would do that a lot too as a psychological thing, letting them know that they're in your house and they're messing with you and that they owned all of your privacy areas. One thing, so I don't forget, I forgot to write down, but I had a room in my house where I would put a lock on, and I would put money, because they were stealing money from my house too. So if I had $100 in my wallet, it wasn't uncommon then that some of these confidential informants would steal $40 or something out of there. It's always in smaller ways and smaller increments, so that if you report it, it sounds like a nut job. Oh, they didn't take all your money? Are you sure you didn't borrow somebody something, or something you bought that you forgot about? So it's always intended to do that. So my room specifically, I would go, I would go and go different areas. My dog's in here with me. So I would go to different areas and go to do different things. And in my room, like I said, from getting my money stolen, I would put a padlock. I put hinges inside a door and a padlock on to try and protect my money from being stolen. What they would do is, there's a place, I won't give the exact name, but it's a lock and key shop in Rochester, Minnesota. So the owner of the lock and key shop, they're already friends with, because when they do, law enforcement does wellness checks on people and stuff. If they don't answer the door, they get a locksmith. Locksmith goes in, and sometimes if somebody has passed away, then they can do the proper things to deal with that. So the locksmiths, any lock you have, they have full access to these guys. So another part of the felony organized harassment of me was to have the lock and key shop from Rochester, Minnesota come into my room and break the locks and do certain things to show that they could get in and mess with things. If you have a safe and different things like that, there's going to be numbers on the outside of the safe on stickers. Law enforcement can actually call into the safe companies and other people. Hey, I've got this code, I'm detective blah blah blah, give his credentials. They give them those numbers, and then they have the combination or the key code to get into that safe. So you have to remember that. So peel the stickers off and stuff, and don't leave passwords and things readily around. Excuse me, I have a cold. But the passwords and things like this, don't drive yourself nuts, because they already have all the tools. You're talking about professionals and people that have access to the law enforcement, that has access to NSA tools and different things. These are the smartest people in the world. as an example, the cryptos, I've actually tried to crack this stupid thing. They have this guy put this monument up, and it's called Cryptos, and it's a cryptography and different things like that. If you don't know what that is, it's trying to solve algorithms and different ways that messages were embedded within certain things to decipher them. So back in the war, they'd use different machines and stuff. So in intelligence, this thing is huge. I've tried to crack this several times. Somebody came up with a a computer program that had algorithms that would run through to crack this, and they actually broke some of the parts of that and have revealed that. But the whole thing, worldwide, at the CIA, it's called Cryptos, has not been broken. So you think of every agency and all the intelligence in this entire world, that man was smart enough to put that together to stump everybody in the entire world. So he's a brilliant man, and I am going to solve that someday. So anyways, that's kind of, I geek out to stuff like that sometimes because I enjoy that. So let's see. They do these different random things, so you knew that they were inside your house, but if you called up, you sounded like a nut job. If you called the police, you sounded like a nut job. Nobody's going to admit to it because the police themselves are doing that. So they put like things in the fish tank that weren't normally in the fish tank. They'd rearrange things in the fish tank or flip things over in the fish tank that it's impossible that the fish could have flipped over. Just little subtle things to mess with your mind continually and constantly. And all kinds of things. If they wanted to mess with somebody, for example, if every time you left your house, they went and took a can of pop out of your fridge and set it down on its side on your table and did that continually over and over and over, and then you take a trip to Canada, you take a trip to California, wherever, a different state, they just call ahead to the other dirty law enforcement and they tell them to do the same thing. So then those people, with all the access to the locksmiths, to different people, they can get into any houses, any cars, any vehicles, anything. They'd go to your hotel room and take the pop that was the same brand of pop and everything and place it on your table. So when you get back to the hotel, you see it there, terror comes upon you, and it psychologically breaks you down. These are sick, sick, sick individuals. Family members, roommates, children, and like best friends, and paid, the people that are paid assisting some of these operations, people that love you don't know that they're trying to kill you through this or make you crazy to cause you to harm yourself, okay? They don't know the extent of this program that can easily be tracked by all the individuals that are gang-stalked and how many of them have committed suicide or magically been murdered. There's a pattern here to be exposed, and somebody will in Jesus' name. These other people that are doing it are thinking it's a joke. So like my daughter would let other people that they would introduce into her, like friends and people her age and people like, hey, do you mind if we come over? They could come in the house through her bedroom window or, any different ways. If I'm awake, there's no alarms or anything, they could let them in through the door. And they could play games and just go in the house like they're trying to be friends and actually move some things around and do the specific parts of the psychological operation to cause harm to your well-being and your mind and your health. And so that's another thing they use. Excuse me, this cold is kicking my butt. So many times when they do these things in your house or garage to enter without being surveilled, or to mess with you when you get home as they're already waiting there. In my case, they would already be in the garage to do different things against my car and different things. And people would already be in the house. So like I said, I'd take the groceries out to the car. They already know the patterns and things, and this is a professional system of what they're doing. It's strategic and targeted. And there's different ways and probabilities that they would most commonly use to do this, to give the best way to come against you, to psychologically harm you, and it's a very specific program. That's why you're going to see some of these same tools that are happening to me happen around the world, because they're using this and it's such an effective program. They stick to the program's guidelines. So they use surveillance tools, and it takes a little while at first when they start out to really figure out your sleeping patterns with certainty. Like for me, I'd be studied for a long time and surveilled and things. And then for me, they knew specifically that if I was grinding my teeth while I was sleeping, I was in a very deep sleep, and that would be a good time to enter, have cover noise or whatever, and do different psychological operations, and also do damage to things, or to compromise your phone or your electronic equipment and things. And this is nothing new. You know, if you're a high-level target, and this was actually like from somebody that was very important, it's very similar. My car felony gang stalk, the felony gang stalking against me with my car is every time I would leave the vehicle, the snitches would follow me inside a store. So they always have visual eyes on you, and then they have the other people organized to carry out the operation. So, you know, if I went into a gas station, they'd make sure that visually I could not see my car from that point, and that would be relayed back to the other person. They would go into the car and cut the steering wheel and this and that. They're not dumb, so if there is ways and cameras and things where they could get caught, they could have somebody that has already talked to the people in the gas station, the manager and stuff, because they go around and slander you to the entire community, to all areas that you go to and stuff. So this is already planned. They're not dumb. There's several layers against you finding out what's occurring against you. It would be even simple for a way to do different things with, you know, like inside your house. Let's say they wanted to mess with you, and you had the best security system with motion sensors and things. There's a trail on me from Simply Safe is my alarm system, and they're not that great or anything, but I don't have a ton of money, and I use them. And the motion sensors are effective, but there's many times that Simply Safe would call me up, many times. Oh, hey, we have a motion sensor set off, and I knew where all the motion sensors were, and which ones would go off and things. So they would call me up, and then I'd say, no, everything's fine. But there were several times that I said, yeah, you know, I wanted to get documented that people are messing with my house and harassing me and things. So, you know, there's a list and a link and a paperwork trail, an electronic trail of, and emails, when they send emails and texts and different things, of me leaving my house, and magically my motion sensors are being set up before I ever had any animals, after I had animals, you know, this and that. I'm not a moron. And so, you know, another thing too is, even if you left, they have visual eyes on you, you're far enough away from the house. Even if they know they're going to set off a motion sensor, they will still go in quickly, do what they need to do, and then come out. And you can't make it home by that time. You're surveilled the whole time. There's eyes on you. So it's very easy when you have a network of people, and you know, the police and all these different people. The police are the main people who would be, you know, eyes on the target, out and about. And also they are in the public to not just be after you, obviously. So when they need to use them, they can just go about their business like they're doing everything they would normally do. So let's see. Okay, so everywhere I went, they'd cut my steering wheel. You know, they've killed animals, done all kinds of things, break glass, steal from me, steal money. You know, I've talked about that in the other videos. So totally outside of any of these programs and ways of surveillance. This is sick, this is sadistic, and it's, you could call it satanic bullying also. These people are really out of whack. So if you went to a gas station, I told you that you'd be followed, field of view. So if you went to Walmart and other places with camera systems, Walmart will not let the public go and look at the camera system. So all they have to say is, oh, we're sorry, that camera didn't have that angle, this and that, and whatever, and they already lie. The police and the people that are in Walmart security, all the floor walkers and in the main stores, these people that generally work security, they want to be cops, and a lot of times they're out at the college to be cops, and some of these people they've used against me. And what they do is, when they do that, they already have a relationship, and these security guards so bad want to be a police officer, so they go in and they practically you know, will do anything they say. So there's no chance that Walmart is ever going to give you surveillance footage of what occurred to your vehicle, unless like you were out in the parking lot and you actually died out there. Still nobody can ever see that footage before the police and things like that. So I mean, while you're alive and being gang stalked, you're not going to have a chance at Walmart to come forward. I actually spoke to a lady too on the phone, where they would you know, smash carts into her car and things like that. She would go inside to get that checked out and stuff, and she could see the people that would, you know, when she would go to try and check on this, the kind of ways they would work and approach her and things, find out what's going on, and then the people would magically never have anything on camera, and they were tormenting her that way. Your sleep patterns, your driving patterns, your life patterns, your schedules, your work, home, school, everything is taken to the best psychologically way to destroy your mind and make you look crazy. So the probabilities, the algorithms, all your movements, all these things are calculated. And this is, it's so sick, but that's how they are best at doing their job, and they do their job very well because they're professionals. These aren't idiots, so you have to think outside the box. There will always be a paper trail of the paid people, though, that are doing this, and that's the weak link to the system, is some of the confidential informants and things. They're little drug addicts, and they're not so bright, so those are the easiest to identify. If, the government was, monitoring people like mob bosses and things like this, obviously they're not going to be noticed. They're the best of the best at doing what they do to take down racketeering and big organizations like that and gang networks and stuff. So just understand, when this is being this blatantly obvious, it's on purpose of what they're doing. If people kill themselves, they go to people that were used by them, not knowing that they were actually part of the abuse coming against these people and the psychological warfare and the gang stalking. But these people would be cooperating with them like family members and different people, unfortunately. And those people were thinking they were actually helping their loved ones because of the lies and slander that the police would put upon the person that they are gang stalking. The cops always say, oh, we're really sorry to hear, that he had died and blah, blah, blah. But, it was really good that you guys helped be a part of keeping an eye on him so he didn't go and hurt other people. Obviously, he was crazy. That's why he's taken his own life. Okay? Sick people that should be so ashamed. This is beyond evil. Okay. An Apple iPhone I'll speak of because that's what I use. I'm recording with an iPhone 10 right now. The Apple iPhone, if you call AppleCare and other people, with your iCloud account, and if you're hooked onto the Wi-Fi network, they can actually see everything on your phone to help you repair it and do different functions of your phone. So real time they can see that. So it's very easy, and that access they have is the easiest access. But with the Stingray and NSA programs and stuff like this, you're never going to get a way to secure your cell phone. Just understand that. With an Apple iPhone, the best way you could do is, what you would do is you'd take your phone, you would go to iTunes on a computer that's not compromised. You would download iTunes, verify the update, and the system restores. So you'd restore like totally erase and restore that. And then after you do that, you would not use an iCloud account. You would not download any apps or anything like that. And then they would only have the basics of the functions of that phone. So it's taking a really good phone, although that phone could have already been compromised and setting up Bluetooth and different signals and things for GPS location and triangulation and tracking and things like that. So the phone, unless your best way would be to go back to keep a smartphone at home to keep your social life, all your things you need to do. But if you wanted to leave somewhere, if you took a little flip phone and you pull the battery out, it'll drive them nuts. Now they have to work for their money and actually enter the stores, and the GPS won't line up as good. So like for me, they'd use ambulance, fire departments, and different people to mess with me and gang stalk me at times. Not always, different types of people and tools they would use to do this. But they would coordinate, so they would magically appear at certain times, like when I'd go out in front of my house and they could flip me off, or they could do that continually. They'd wait on the side street, the GPS of your phone, GPS on your car, video surveillance from across the road is so easy, and everything streams live nowadays and stuff. And the fast internet networks, 4G LTE and all these things, everything's fast. So they would know, okay, here we go, he's coming down the driveway, so they know everything's timed, and it's very easy to drive out and drive right in front of you to look like, they've been watching you on top of you the whole time. These guys are really idiots. I mean, you got to be a little brighter than that, at least a little more professional. A guy like myself should have never been able to catch on to so many of these things. And what I'm exposing on camera isn't obviously even close to everything, because I can't give everything out on camera and reveal certain secrets. I do want this to end in Jesus' name, and that's the point of all these videos and what, you know, you out there suffering. I'm so very sorry that this illegal, felonious targeting of you, this gang stalking, these felonies committed against you, you know, you don't deserve this, and I mean that, and I'm going to fight for you the best I can. So with the phone, like I said, let's see. All electronics you have can and will be compromised. Don't go spend a bunch of money on different phones and this and that, and grab another computer and this one and take it to somebody to repair and blah, blah, blah. They have all tools to do that. In my case, they would even go to the manager of the bank, check my safe deposit box out. So there's nothing they can't get into. So if you go get a safe deposit box at the bank, the sheriff's department walks in, boom, 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 they can look right inside that. They can easily get warrants to do this legally and in certain ways. So they have all the tools and tactics to do this in the smear campaign, and the reason you're even on the list and targeted sometimes. Some people are doing just because it's sadistic revenge against them, like myself, for turning in a dirty cop. And some people, who knows, maybe they just, you know, really get off and enjoy this, so they throw somebody else on the list. But usually there's a reason why somebody is being targeted. Or like somebody else in their family might have done something wrong and they're paying the price for that. So all electronics you have will be compromised, so don't, you know, go nuts trying to think if you get enough fun. It's not going to work. It's not going to help. Changing iCloud accounts, Gmail accounts, not using Google as a web browser do help a tiny little bit. But like I said, you know, that stuff is exhausting, and to re-put your contacts on phones and do different things, it's more work than it's going to be help. If you're making a phone call and that's going out, you can be tracked. If you're streaming something at your house, that can be tracked. They already know your internet, your IP, and everything is tracked anyway. So don't go crazy trying to do things and spend money where you shouldn't. And I have myself. Let's see. When you're out shopping too, like let's say you go out shopping to buy a hidden camera, or you go online to buy a hidden camera off Amazon or one of these places, you're already fully surveilled. They know that, and they coordinate against that. If you're out at Walmart shopping, the gang stalkers, the confidential informants, and the other community police wannabe retards that are doing this, they will go by and look in your cart and watch the items of your cart. This is nothing new. If you pay with a debit card, whatever, that shows up also. So that's pointless. But I'm going to give you in a second an idea of what does work with cameras and things. So they know what you're buying. They know what you eat. They know when you sleep, how many hours you sleep, how well you sleep, your deepest sleep, your driving patterns. All these things are calculated. Okay, protecting yourself at night is the most important, and one thing to do is if you have motion sensors, that's many ways that I've busted people. But like I said, they always have an exit, so even, you know, like I woke up one time at night and they were in the house, and immediately it takes you a second to get out of bed and stuff, and boom, they were gone out the back door. The door wasn't closed all the way and it was unlocked. And there was actually a way, I didn't realize at that time, they rigged up the back part of, there was a plexiglass window where it could be pushed out and easily just reached in and the door unlocked and stuff. So there's going to be different entry points and different ways they do that. These are professionals. The idiots doing a lot of it aren't professionals, obviously, but because they have full access of your house, they go through your house. You know, this is organized where they'll go through your entire house with a video camera. Every inch, every cupboard, every closet, every area. So it's like hiding in plain sight. It's like a magician. They're doing things that you can't figure out how or why they're doing it. It's already calculated. You know, these things are specific in targeting, and they're very effective. So they know in your house that you rarely go upstairs into this closet, okay? So if in an entire year you've only gone into that closet one time or never, where do you think that, you know, you can put different things, or you can mess with somebody, or be inside yourself? They have every bit of technology to even, you know, like firemen and stuff use things infrared and stuff. So like if somebody wanted to see if I was in this room and I had a hostage, I can obviously infrared and many tools, but I'm just saying the most basic crude of them. They can see infrared and see the individuals in there, like what firemen would use to go through and look for individuals in a fire and stuff. Okay. Okay, the operations most effective for them is when you're asleep. So that's a late part of the night, and when they calculate that you're asleep the best. So if they're going to come into the house, if you reset your phone on iTunes and have that totally wiped and different things like that, they don't want that like that. To have physical access is the best. My dogs are in here. So they would, that's when they would enter a home if they wanted to play some games, psychological operations, move things around and compromise electronics and things like that. And they already know your patterns and certain things, and when they do that, there's different things in place and set up so that they cannot get caught, and every angle in case they are, compromised while inside your house, they deal with it according to the situation. So if you have animals, the alarm system motion sensor is obviously going to be more difficult, so you'd have to set things up certain ways. I have a doggy door, so I let my dogs go out inside to the bathroom and stuff. But if you don't, and your animal's good and can go the whole night without using the bathroom, you'd want to be inside your room, and I'll tell you a little bit about that. But that way you can set up some motion sensors and different things. The most extreme measures of this, your door to your bedroom, the hinges should be on the inside with the lock, preferably a combination lock. If you're super ultra paranoid, you put 2 combination locks. The security camera, you absolutely have to have sound front and back of the house and inside the house. Specifically monitoring your bedroom door or in your bedroom on you would be the best thing, with that backed up to the cloud. That way if you woke up, there was an operation that was taking place, you would be able to immediately have proof on that cloud live stream from your phone, and you could possibly catch on to what this is doing. That's such an extreme measure that most people don't do that, and unfortunately they know that, so they play off that. But if you did do that too, they'll start to do different operations and ways to go against that. But that's one thing that would be very difficult for them to counter. So you'd have a security camera, and hopefully you'd have all 4 sides of your house with security cameras with sound, okay? Because the sound is your best friend. Sound even within your house, so you have one out in the living room or somewhere near your bedroom, so if something at all goes out there, boom, while you're sleeping, you can hear that. That has to put them on edge and make them cautious to entering your home while you're sleeping, because now you have a way of exposing that. And with live stream and different things, and if you set up a network with other friends and things, let's say you live streamed right to one of your Facebook groups with different gang stalkers that are targeted and victims of this felony crimes against them. That way that video could go there, and hopefully they would download that right away and stuff. And you could have, if you wanted to, you could have buddy systems like that and have that in place. Let's see. I talked about that already. So, okay. If you have surveillance cameras set up, it needs to be used in conjunction with an alarm system with motion sensors. Motion sensors are your buddies. That's the best friend. If you got a bunch of motion sensors, the best of the best can't stop moving, But I'll tell you another thing too I forgot to write down. So my motion sensors that I'd have in my house, when they would enter the house, some of the motion sensors, there's different ways they could do it. They could put in batteries that are nearly dead, so the power of the motion sensor isn't as powerful. But for me, the motion sensor, they rendered it ineffective by actually putting something on the battery. There was like a little film on the battery, so the contact wasn't making contact with the battery correctly. So it looked like it was plugged in, looked like it was good. So what you're going to want to do to test that is you're going to want to put your alarm on alarm, and you're going to want to walk around at times to double check randomly to make sure that the motion sensor is working. And the motion sensors, you don't want them at a certain height, because there's certain ways you can go slow, because they have motion sensors that won't go off if you have dogs and things like that. So you want to have them at a different level, you want to have them in different areas, and you want to switch that up randomly so they cannot specifically target that as knowing specifically where the different motion sensors and things are to use. Make them work for their money. Let's see. And the sound with the video cameras too, like I said, that's going to be your best friend. So you have a TV on in your room, and you just hook a DVR up to it. So if you watch TV at night and you're enjoying yourself, throw it on the surveillance part when you go to bed with the sound on. So if you hear sounds, it'll wake you up and help you. And then in conjunction with the motion sensors and different things, you have layers of protection to help you. You know, if a sleeping agent or anything was introduced, you still have backups to the cloud and different things like this. So if the tactics are used to keep you asleep while they're doing certain things, there's still a chance that that might not be 100% effective. So that would be something that would hinder them. Let's see. There's a lot of protective layers. So even if let's see. To protect them while they're doing these things. We've already talked about that. When you're away and they compromise your system, they'll purposely set off motion sensors to make you think that's the way they're coming in. So for me, they'd set off motion sensors in certain areas. The majority of them, some are that dumb, and some they will blatantly do that if they have to do something quick inside your house, get in and out, then they don't care. But a lot of times if they set off a sensor in one area, that's to make you think that that's where it's occurring, that's where they're entering, and it's not. It's always the opposite of that. So whatever they do it's like a magician. So the things they're doing, you can't figure out how they're doing, and then when you think it is, it's never going to be a clear-cut, easy way to do that. So you have to understand that and think outside the box. You know, and remember, good gang stalkers are very experienced and they're very professional, okay? The little drug addict informants and community police, they don't use them in these other operations like this because a lot of times, you know, obviously somebody from the community or your family member, they're not going to go inside your house and mess with you while you're sleeping. Let's see. You know, they would delete my DVR. They'd do different things, blah, blah, blah. They do things professionally in a certain way that when you go to check the cameras, they've already been changed, deleted, compromised, etc. Or moved. You know, a lot of times mine were moved or they were broken or the DVR was just erased. Let's see. Let's see. And I was talking again about all the layers of protection from them being exposed. So like you call the police, hey, somebody came into my house and did this, and they did something, like I said, those little tiny things they do to mess with your head. Somebody broke into my house and, oh, they didn't steal anything, but they turned my stove on, you know, the burner on the stove to let me know I was in there. Well, you got cameras, did you check the cameras? Yeah, but they were deleted. Well, what are we supposed to do? Are you sure you didn't accidentally leave that on? You know, your dog might have jumped up there and down. You know, that's what you're dealing with is the people doing this are intentionally intended to discredit you when they come to do it. So even if they write up a report, it's not going anywhere. Like I said, the things that I did write were showing some escalation where they're cutting up my steering wheel and my child is there as present with me and killing an animal, you know, things like that. To show the escalation and stuff and to have documentation. The motion sensors is where I've caught them the most times. I've awoken at night and knew somebody was there, ran to the back door, and they've already exited the door. The door wasn't fully closed and it was unlocked, and this has happened several times. And I'm going to talk about the cover noises they use because they do that during this also. The police and first responders will be used if the people weren't already hidden in your house and waiting for entry of the house. They need sound to cover their exit and entry. Here's the ways they do it. So some of the ways they do it is like my house, my bedroom was in an area where there was a driveway next to my house. That person there was somebody they talked to and slandered me and was being used against me. This house right directly next to me. So they would bring like a big diesel truck, you know, it almost rattles the windows and you're sitting inside the bedroom. That's the way they would enter it, used for entry or exit to cover sounds and do different things, whether it be within your garage or whatnot. During exit or entry, they'd use the sounds, like I said. And the other thing they'd use too is, you know, if they needed to warn somebody that was inside your house, they would honk the horn. So if you woke up, they were compromised, there would be a horn honk, these people would be still and hidden within that area, a cover noise would come. That would be the police would turn on their sirens, or a car with a booming system would come by, or a car with a super loud muffler, things like that. So it gives them enough time to not usually exit, but so they can go to the safe areas they know of the house to hide in until it's time for you to be in a full sleep where they can sneak back out of the house after they're compromised. Let's see. So always remember that, like if you wake up, you feel like something's wrong, you hear a police siren, you hear people honking and things like this, and you feel like somebody's there and stuff, you know, there's different ways that this is strategic. So understand these tools that I'm giving you. They also use, let's see, honking's always used in communication when you're out in parking lots and different things, and especially to gang stalk you. Car alarms, the same type of honking patterns, or if they lay on the horn for like 3 seconds, then the other people lay on the horn for 3 seconds, things like that. Surveillance equipment takes power source, so some has to have batteries and stuff when they're doing using different things that are like mobile, so it's not meant to be permanent surveillance on you. There's other things that can be right in the walls of your house and stuff, and it's very easy to get paint, to copy paint, to do different things. Very, very easy. This is nothing new. You're dealing with professionals, so think of how that would be occurring. So it would not be uncommon in any way to have a camera within a security camera. So within a security camera that you have, like a big indoor-outdoor camera, if it's a larger one especially, it's very easy for them to also add an additional camera within that camera. You can look at your cell phones and see how small the cameras are. They've got cameras that are just undetectable. I mean, these things are tiny. But a lot of things need a power source, and different ways things work. And that wouldn't be totally professional, but that would still be a way that the good majority of everybody being gang stalked, if they had a camera within a camera, wouldn't even realize that until a long, long time. And if they ever did, it'd be in a way that it'd be hard to explain, and you try and call the police, and the police are doing it, so there's a good chance that the camera you had will be there no longer. Or even if you report it and turn in the camera would disappear, things like that. So you're not going to catch it because it's professional, okay? You don't have like some lower level law enforcement that designed these programs. You got the smartest of the smart. Like I said, that cryptos that drives me nuts, because I will beat that sometime. But that coded system, like when they made that, people around the world can't beat that. Nobody can. Hold on, girl. So the thing is, you're dealing with people that design programs that are meant to make you look crazy and not meant to be exposed. So that's what you're up against. Zoe, stop. So she wants me to throw the ball for her. So I'm almost done. Let's see. So the power source and the probability of you not thinking there's a camera within a camera, that's the mindset, that's the thinking, that's the way you have to think outside the box. You have to think of things done as a magician would do them. These are professionals, and catching them will never be obvious unless they wanted you to catch those actions. So the actions are intended to be exposed where you think, oh, they're entering this way, then they're entering another way. Or they're doing this, I think I know how they're doing this. They're not that stupid. They're not going to allow you to think that way. So you just got to think outside the box. This isn't a perfect system, and like I said, you know, the ultra paranoid could set up a way, you know, but it's a shame anybody would ever have to do that. So even if you do that, they're going to hit you psychologically harder in different areas to go against that. Anyways, I had to throw the ball for my dog. So I'm almost done. These guys really need to get out to a dog park, but I don't feel good today. I have a cold. I want to get back in the gym because I'm trying to hit 400 pounds on my bench, and I'm very close, 385. So root for me on that. And pray for me also. I would appreciate that. So we're going to end. This is almost done. They're going to make you think entering your house one way and be entering the other. In my case, their favorite was entering from the upstairs and already being in the home or my garage, etc. When I would come home, you know, go to sleep at night, etc. In the garage, they can retrieve and replace surveillance equipment from your car. And in my case, they would also cut up the steering wheel at the same time at different random times and different things to do the psychological things against me, and then follow me around and cut my steering wheel up no matter where I go or whatever state I go into. They just call ahead to their buddies, hey, we got this car. They call the locksmith, he cuts them a key for the car, and then the people that are doing it here, they don't have to follow you up there. They can just call their buddies, you know. So it'd be pretty rare that they would actually go and set up way down there. They just use this program that's in all the sheriff's departments and the oversight of that, and just continue it on and on and on. You know, so people have asked me, well, would you be safe if you went to another country? Not if they are executing the same type of program and they have buddies within the law enforcement, obviously, then it's not going to work. If they slander you and say you're somebody you're not, and to do this over in Canada, and Canada has the same program, you're going to be in trouble. Places that wouldn't put up with this would be like, let's say you went to Israel or you went to Russia or something, especially. There's no way that this wouldn't happen over there. They don't play. Putin would put the kibosh to that right away. So, what do you think? Snowden's there. So, anyways, it's always random and not patterned on purpose. So one time it's enter the house, the next time leave proof they were at your house. For me, they would put garbage out in front of the house. So every time I'd leave, even if I left for 2 minutes, they would have one of the people that are already located close to me, or a neighbor or somebody that's part of it and getting a couple bucks because they sell their souls for like monetary value all the time. They'll do anything for cash. So hey, we want you to go do this. He's going to take off, blah, blah, blah. So it's real easy. It's already established. It's already set up, and you're not the only person. So it's not like they're living day and night to go after you. There's several. There's hundreds of thousands of people, if not more, that this is occurring to. And also with these programs, too, the effectiveness and stuff, don't think that they're not, seeing how effective certain things are and working off of that and designing that and repositioning ways that they do things and stuff, because they are. It's a very effective program, and it's killing people. It's doing what it's intended to do: drive you nuts, make you look crazy, not be exposed, and tools for the law enforcement if they did have to work against people who really are high-risk people. The only problem is it's been perverted, and the people behind it have perverted hearts, and they're very evil and sick people. So in Jesus' name, we are coming against this, and I'm calling on the Lord Jesus Christ to help us do that. I have a very big God. So, okay. And the neighbors and the other people, even family members and stuff, like my own kids, they've involved in this, and the kids don't know that it's hurting me the way that it is. I've just came out now to help everybody else, because when I was watching a video on a girl that came forward and was gangstalked because she turned in cops for satanic ritual abuse, and they were Freemasons, now she's being gangstalked and having problems. So that's why I'm out here, and the Lord has led me to do this. So this is going to be very helpful. Copy this video, give it to your Facebook groups and other people, so if the video gets deleted or I get deleted, there's some proof out there, and this is helping people. So when people are out there and you're hurting, which you shouldn't be, but you are, and you're isolated and you feel alone, I want you to know I've gone through it and I'm going through the same thing. I'm here for you. I love you, and God loves you. Just quickly, for God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should never perish but have everlasting life. So I want you to know I'm going to fight with every bit of my life and breath to give this to you, the best information I can, and be there for you. I'm going to slow down on some videos now. I need to get back into my Bible and get focused on some ministry things that are important to me and helping other people with hurting souls and hearts, and to do my work as an evangelist, as a follower of Jesus Christ, and a Holy Spirit-filled, born-again Christian. I'm a Salvation Army soldier. I have nothing to do with the business of it. I'm not into any business, any part of it, other than I gave my life to Jesus Christ, made a covenant in front of the whole church that I will serve the Lord Jesus Christ, my community, and everybody else out there, my neighbor. I will love as myself, and I'll do my best. My dogs are almost knocking over the camera, so. Anyways, I'm going to end this. I love you guys very much, and I'm here for you. I have the website up, gangstalkingvictims.org, and very soon I've taken a mortgage on my house, so I'm going to get the proper tools and equipment and ways and network systems set up, so everybody out there that's a targeted individual, a gang-stalking victim, anybody that's dealing with abuse, that's hurting and feels hopeless and helpless, and that's out there. And also, we're going to do this in Jesus' name for the memory, for the people that have already given their lives to this sickness, this evil, this sick, demonic program that has killed people and is killing people. In their honor and in their name and out of respect, I will give my life and my ministry and my heart fully and committed to doing that. So I love you guys. Alright, so usually I make videos in a different room of mine, but I'm painting that room right now. But I left a comment for someone, and I felt horrible because this person has been the victim of gang stalking. And I want to give you a very descriptive definition and what the origin of it is and such, because it's hard to get information on that, and there's a reason that it is hard to get information on that. It's because it is run by sheriff's departments and actually funded by government agencies also to do this 24/7 surveillance. It started out to be against, let's say, people they suspect of terrorism, or if somebody's missing and they think a husband has killed the wife or something, they can surveil them and do different things. But this is different because they're specifically psychologically targeting people to break them down, and it actually brings a lot of people harm, and some people commit suicide from that. So I'm going to go through, but this man that had a video on it, he was really concerned, and I felt horrible for him, and his mind's going all directions and things. So what I did is I left a comment for him, but I felt horrible for him, so I'd be able to give him the proper information to help him get through this. Because for some people it's really hard. I was lucky I was tipped off by some people that actually do it, well, by one person. So I'm going to read what I had left for him in the comment section. Gang stalking is coordinated by the sheriff's department. A confidential informant told me he was an informant, and I never knew that, and this was a friend of mine. He felt bad because he told me that I was placed on the list. He told me because they put me on the list to be a targeted individual, 24/7 surveillance, after I turned in a dirty cop. The confidential informant, my friend, told me their ultimate goal is to trigger you to get you to commit suicide after they stalk you and isolate you. They will break in your house and even do things to double your bills, etc., to also target, so they can also target your finances. They are doing things to systematically make you waste money fixing, replacing, and spending on things you shouldn't have to because they sabotage things. My friend had said at their Masonic Lodge, many of the Masons there were on the list to stalk and harass people also, but the most people that they use are the confidential informants that do surveillance and other things for the police department, and like controlled buys and different things like that. But there's a difference between surveillance and harassment. This they want you to know, and they want to harass you and psychologically come against you. When they could get someone to finally commit suicide, he said that they would throw parties and celebrate that like it was a big joke. It wasn't as bad for me because I knew what was going on, since my friend had thankfully tipped me off to what was occurring and the sheriff's department and the different individuals that were doing this. Within 1 month of him telling me that I was on the list and that they were coming at me, they found him dead from a diabetic thing. He was 36 years old and his name was Josh. That's a pretty odd coincidence. Your vehicle is the biggest thing they'll mess with. They will do things to have your check engine lights come on, scratch the vehicles constantly, break things that you've just had repaired, put like small little cuts in the upholstery or on the dash, and little things, you know, cut with a razor like on your radio into the plastic and things like that. One thing they loved doing to my vehicle was cutting the steering wheel with knives. I'd go into a store and come out and go to turn my wheel, and then you'd have cut up areas on the wheel so they could let me know that they broken my car just to mess with me. And I did file police reports on this. This isn't something weird. It's actually documented and stuff. And I did that even knowing law enforcement and their informants and different people involved in this program were doing it, but just to get it documented. But I knew it wouldn't go anywhere. And it was funny too, even when I'd call in to document this. And they also killed my children's pet rabbits out of lock cages and many other things, broke into my house, did lots of things. But I would call to file a report just to get it documented. And you know, it would take like 6 hours for anyone to show up, and it's not that they were busy, it's because I was hated, you know, I'm on the list. So it'd take just a super long time, then they'd show up with somebody that's like equivalent to like a parking ticket cop, and you know, it wouldn't go anywhere. I think that at one point, I can't remember if the animal was killed or what, but you know, I wanted to show that there was a little bit of an escalation there. Yeah, I think that's when they killed the animals and stuff. I filed police reports, but I knew law enforcement was the ones doing it, so it wouldn't go anywhere, blah, blah, blah. Even when I filed the reports, they weren't even busy. I just talked about that. They've slashed at least, I would say at least 6 or 7 tires, motorcycle tires, do different things. If I parked my car like in a parking ramp and go downtown and stuff and leave it there, if I had some drinks or something, I would come back, and not only would my battery be dead, they would actually kill the battery, drain the battery, but then they would unhook the battery cables from the battery to make it obvious that it wasn't just an accident, you didn't just leave your lights on. No, we actually drained your battery and unhooked the cables from the battery. It was pretty pathetic. Let's see. They'd break in my house and let some of the pets out of the cages. So I'd come home, and here's these, you know, closed up cages, and I've got animals running around the floor. They thought that was pretty funny. You know, I did put some surveillance cameras out that just break the cameras. Or I'd come in the house, and I had my daughter, I was out of state for a time, and some things had happened, and I had to go back and look at the cameras, and of course they deleted entire like months of footage, and you know, that's when the camera magically went out too. One of the cameras, there was 8. A girl in the bar tipped me off on more than one occasion, and more than one different girl, that they'd approach them in the bathroom, and those people would tell them that they should stay away from me because I'm violent, and one person even told them that I was a child molester and I was a felon. I'm not a felon, I'm not anything, you know. But they would tell them these lies to slander your name, to get people to hate you, so that way they're easier manipulated too if they want to use them against you. They think they're actually doing a good thing for their community. I would have conversations with people and everything was fine, and then as soon as I was gone for a little bit, go to the bathroom or whatever, or go do something, you know, it wasn't uncommon that when I'd return or see them again or things like that, the atmosphere completely changed, and that person wanted nothing to do with me any longer because of those, the people that would talk to them about me. One of the biggest tools, they'll use family members against you too, but what they'll do is if you talk about gang stalking or surveillance and things, they'll say like, hey, we're worried, you know, we want to investigate this, but we know he's just, you know, delusional or demented, and you know, they'll make up lies, and they'll try and actually get your family member to be part of this too, to come against you. And the family members a lot of times love you and care about you, think you might be a little bit off because you're talking about these things, and they don't believe that there could be any bad cops or like weird people doing this, and that's exactly what's occurring. And I'll get into in a second about this program because it's actually intended for one thing. So even if you got a hold of some high-level people and said, hey, I want you to check this, you know, they're doing this and that to me, then the cops will just lie and say, yeah, we are doing that and we're using this program, but it's because we have reports that he's been speaking to someone that has ties with high-level gang members, or you know, a big drug dealer. You know, that's how they cover their tracks. One of the biggest tools they use, like my friend, and how they used him, is he was a confidential informant for the sheriff's department, and that way those guys were already in place. They already knew surveillance, they already knew how to do controlled buys, they already knew how the other people were monitoring them while they were trying to extract information and buy drugs and do these different things. So it's very easy for them because they already have the surveillance to surveil people for drug dealing, things like this. The only difference is that is very secretive and quiet, and you won't know they're surveilling you, whereas this is complete harassment and demonic, and they want you to know that they're harassing you to psychologically get you to break down and harm yourself and commit suicide. He said that, you know, when he told me that, he told me, he said, you know, I'm worried about you and this and that, and these guys have actually, you know, killed people and had people these people have killed themselves because it had gotten so bad that they took their own lives, and then these people would laugh and high five, and they'd actually have a party, and there was actually funding for these things when they'd get together for doing such a good job and stuff. I mean, it's real sick. Let's see. So like, well, let me get to that in a second. The Sheriff's Department is coordinating most every part of it. It was supposed to be used to track psychotic people or pedophiles or actual stalkers, violent people, violent gang members, terrorists, suspected terrorist members, people that come over here. Let's say someone came over from Iran, obviously they're going to surveil them, if they have ties to terrorist organizations and things, and that's how they surveil them. They don't harass them in that sense, though, but they do the same type of surveillance, but it's just not the harassing psychological part to get those people to try and harm those people. It's to watch them. My friend said the Sheriff's Department would even use gas and high-level targets to enter homes while the people were in the homes sleeping. And that was the same type of things they do in like hostage situations. Or I remember there was a case where there was one guy that grabbed a kid and barricaded himself like under the ground in this little thing. And when he went to sleep, they gassed it, entered it, and then they actually killed him. I'm sure they said he reached for his gun, but those are the type of tactics they can use, is they can employ gas and things to not only disorient, but actually put you to sleep and then enter while you're actually asleep. And that would be an easy way if they had a hard time towards a person's electronics or encrypted computer systems or things where they needed physical access. That's where they'd use some of those types of law enforcement tactics. And then when he was telling me about like going into people's houses when they were sleeping and things like that, and some of these different things they were doing, he got real nervous and he just looked at me and his eyes were kind of sad, and he said that he could be the one that gets targeted for telling me to do this. Before he talked to me too, we were out in the country, and he right away pulled the batteries out of our cell phones, and we went and put them in the car, and he wouldn't talk about anything until that was done. So then when we went out, he was all paranoid, a little nervous to tell me, and then he told me, but he looked really sad when he told me that he could himself be targeted or hurt for talking about that when he was talking about entering the houses when people were sleeping and things like that. He said the surveillance with the targeted individual consisted of law enforcement using the law enforcement tools to track their cell phones and GPS track the vehicles. They'd use stingrays for the cell phones to intercept all the texts and different things, and they'd set up a lot of times close to the individual, or they would know different people and they'd talk them into and give them payments and things to set up right in that area. But the stingray could intercept everything, GPS track the cars, phones, all that stuff. And then also he said too, like even people's antivirus and stuff, that was a great way for them to track different people through different computers they were using and everything, to keep on top of every single bit that was going in and out, to know who they're talking to and this and that. So if somebody met somebody online and they're having a great conversation, they're going to meet up, then all of a sudden that person never gets talked to again. A lot of times they intervened on the behalf and talked to the person. And this is a legal process. That's the problem. But the process that they're doing, they're not doing legal parts of it. They're not supposed to. They can surveil you and harass you, but they're not supposed to actually break things of yours, or kill kill pet animals like mine, or cut up my steering wheel, the things I have documented with the police department. Let's see. So basically everything, there's a mirrored way of the different surveillance tools and the ways that they copy your phone and stuff, it's actually mirrored. So everything you see, they can see. Every text you send, they get, blah, blah, blah. The main goal was to isolate the person and introduce other fake people into their lives that are snitches, to help take control of their lives and manipulate those people, and to destroy their finances and bring them into a super depression after they'd isolate them in certain ways and use different tactics. They would hope that they would then commit suicide. If someone turns in a cop for police brutality, or somebody sleep with a cop's wife, etc., then they can be targeted by this program illegally. But see, they'll say it's legal because, like I said, they'll make up an excuse. Oh, that person's been very violent, you know, we're worried about him, he's had psychotic episodes, blah, 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 so they will put him in that category. Or they'll come up with a lie like, you know, we believe we're going to investigate because we think he knows this high-level drug dealer, things like that. They'll get false witnesses to lie about that individual so they can put them on the list to be harassed. It's a funded program, and it's very sick individuals. Some of the civilian stalkers are actually thinking they're doing a great service for their public community because they're, you know, they brainwash themselves, they're retards. So if a cop comes up, hey, I'm Officer this, and I want to talk to you, we think we have a possible child molester here or a rapist, so could we use your house to place a camera? We'll give you some money and things, but we just, you know, this would be the best way to surveil them. People, oh yes, here you go, you know. That's how stupid people are. Some of the civilian stalkers are actually thinking they're doing a service for the public community. Once they know all of your schedule, they approach people in the areas you most likely go, and those people will think they're helping out the sheriff's department by relating information about you back to them and going along with the program. So basically, like, I go to the gym, so they'll talk to people in the gym, and they'll say like, oh, you know, we think this guy has drugged a girl and tries to have sex with underage people and you know, or whatever they want to say, he's psychotic, blah, blah, blah. So then these people that are making like minimum wage and stuff, they're more than happy to get a few bucks off the sheriff's department by going along with these lies. So then when you go into the gym, they make sure that there's at least 1 or 2 different people to constantly monitor you, you know, going to the gym while you're at the gym, when you leave the gym, and things like that to also work with the isolation. Oh, the funds, he told me that the funds, they provide cash and even gift cards, or they cut a check. You know, in his case, he was a drug addict, and a lot of times he's, you know, they'd give him actually, like his buddies would give him drugs, you know, because they have full access to the whole sheriff's department things. It's pretty sick. You know, that would be because they're best friends, and, you know, this isn't legal and it's not on the books, you know. But, you know, these things would be on the side, you know. And he also was able to sell drugs and never worry about getting caught. They mark these people's license plates too, so cops, if they go up behind them and run a plate, they know they're active in investigations and, you know, doing something for the sheriff's department, so they will not touch them. So they can get away with a lot unless they, like, literally, you know, run into a person drunk or something. But other than that, they can get away with a lot of things. So they can cut a check to any of the civilian stalker snitches in the exact same way that they pay their informants to do controlled buys from drug dealers and to start the surveillance and process to arrest them. So, you know, when they're doing controlled buys and they're setting up drug dealers and things, they're doing surveillance on that person and who he's talking to, where the drugs are coming from, who he associates with, what cars he drives, all the same things. But instead of harassment, they're doing this low-key and quietly to start a criminal case against them for felony charges and such, and the informant is involved in that whole process. So the same thing of the stalking is the exact same thing, except they're doing it to harass you and stuff on purpose. Enormous surveillance would be totally secretive and you'd never know, but this is the opposite, and it's a psychological warfare that the police have nearly militarized it to get individuals to break down and harm themselves through suicide. That's what he told me. They like to honk their horns or set up car alarms anywhere you go to make you think, to make you know they're there, and flash their headlights at you a lot and things like that, just to let you know, to try and pick at you and things. I've actually had more than one city cop, sheriff, and state trooper stick their arm out the window, look me right in the eye while they're driving by and go like this, you know, just with a hatred on their face, flip me off. And this happened many times. Let's see. They use other first responders and all the tools of law enforcement to go against you. And, you know, the targeted, specific, triangulated ways that they do this is with, you know, anybody. It could be an old lady, this person, that person with 5 kids, blah, 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 blah. It's all part of a network.
this is for harassment, but the surveillance tools are the same as if they had used it to watch any target at a high level. So the surveillance part of it, if they wanted to be real sneaky and like I said, they're looking for to watch a suspected terrorist, they would employ these same type of things, but it'd be in a different way than harassment. But the surveillance and following you and using the tools and being able to monitor your phone and Stingray and all these different things would be similar. They truly think it's funny, and like I said, that my friend told me, warned me, because he liked me a lot. We were good friends. I never knew he was an informant. And this was till about a month, maybe a month and a half before he died. And he liked me and he knew it wasn't fair, and he was doing this surveillance and stuff himself, because he started off doing it to go against like pedophiles and then this and that. So a lot of times people get started, and when they're close with the sheriff's department, they'll tell them like, hey, this is pedophiles, this is a violent person, or we're going against this bad gang member that we don't want in our community, and blah blah blah. And that's when he started, so he started with the right intentions, but then his heart gave in, and he started realizing how bad it really was. But then he was stuck, he was already involved, and he didn't want to become a target himself. So it started out for the pedophiles and all those people, like I say, and then it started with him. It led into, going to anyone would be added to the list that the group had a problem with and didn't like, or someone made complaints against an aggressive cop or whatever, police brutality. The program is legal as the intentions is, as I said earlier, pedophiles, terrorists, surveillance, blah, blah, blah. But they abuse it for all their own demonic purposes or hatred for people the surveillance network wants to harass. Okay, so like if someone files a complaint against a cop, someone sleeps with the cop's wife, blah, 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 they could put them on the list. My buddy had to sign a confidential informant agreement with the sheriff's department, he said, and also they had full agreements to never talk about the program or anyone involved in it. He was dead roughly 1 month, maybe 2 at the most, but I think it was a month and a half most, after he told me this. And from then until now, I've had to file police reports after they killed my children's animals, slice up my car's steering wheel with knives, vandalize vehicles, vandalize my house, break into my house, all kinds of things. Let's see, like I said, I'll go to watch a movie with my daughter, come out of the movie theater, and they break into my car and slash up the steering wheel with knives, and I come out into the car, and even though I know what's going on, and it's not even a big deal to me, because honestly, I'm a tough guy, I'll be honest with you. I've never had a problem street fighting, and I've knocked out people twice my size very easily. Most of the people involved in this, they really are pussies. So, like, if you go to the gym, work out a little bit, hit a punching bag, you could knock out 95% of these people very easily. But the thing is, they don't engage like that. And I'll tell you another trick he told me quickly too, but let me go back to this first. So I go to the movie theater, I come out, they slice up my steering wheel with knives, and my daughter's in the car and she's scared to death, So it wasn't fair to do that to my daughter, and this program was never intended for that. So these people are way out of line, and they feel that they're above the law because under this program they're actually allowed to break into people's houses, to break into cars, to do certain things, and they call it in the name of surveillance and stuff, and they're and they're trying to be the person that's so helpful to the community and the needs of this type of surveillance, whatever justification they can have, but it's a bunch of crap. But anyways, like I said, I can stand toe-to-toe with any. But the thing is that if I can stand toe-to-toe easily with any of these people, but the thing is, if I scrap with one of them, they're actually taught, he told me they're taught to, if somebody gets violent with them, they're taught to fall down and make sure they rub their arms on the ground, or their face or something to get scratches, and then call the police, act like this person's being psychotic, and then show the cuts and wounds to give higher charges so they can throw them down in the jail. Then they have to bail out, and the family thinks they're crazy, and then they can go work on the family, like I said, to go psychologically, go to the family and say, hey, we're really worried about him, he's violent, he hurt this person, he's saying he didn't do it, and he's talking about people surveilling him and stuff, and that's how they come up with the lies, and they get some of the family to work against their own family members by doing this. one thing I forgot to mention also is that with their surveillance program, not only do they monitor your cell phone and turn that into a roving bug anywhere you go, but they monitor your home. Also, that's why when you talk about going somewhere, the information is sent out for others to already be there. They want to arrive before you if they can, but if they can't, they'll just come later. And then I left my cell phone number for the man. I felt really worried about this guy, and so that's why I wrote that quick message to him. But okay, so we're gonna go over this again, and this is some other notes on it. To understand truly what gang stalking is and the origin of it, it's like I said, it's by the sheriff's department, coordinated by all them with their informants and different civilian people and stuff that they employ for these tactics. It's state to state, with through all the sheriff's departments coordinating this, so they can follow you from each state to state, and they can just call ahead and tell the guys, hey, here's what we like to do. We like to cut a steering wheel. So then one of those cops will come out and cut a steering wheel. And it's actually as easy as, they don't need your keys or anything. They can just call the locksmith, hey, his VIN number is V358, blah, blah, blah. Guy types it in, and he can copy a key right from your VIN number, give it to the individual. They go out and they cut up your vehicle, and they got the VIN number and all these, the key to get in your car and all these things to harass you. The informants always have marked license plates for them. So that if they're ever pulled over, other people scan their plate, they know that they're in an investigation working for the sheriff's department. Nobody will pull them over, so they can literally do all kinds of illegal things. I'll give you an example. My neighbor girl, her name is Amber, and she sits out in her vehicle, smokes meth, and drinks vodka all day long, constantly. And she does buys right out in front of my house and things, and she knows they won't do anything because she's at the sheriff's department. There's another guy, Bill, a few houses away. He's the same thing. He'll enter my house when I leave and do different things. And he has the right to do that through these people. They work through the program. So Amber's sister actually tipped me off the one time and told me that Amber had put a camera up for 24-hour surveillance in my household, and then she could get some money. And so she's got a camera watching directly across my house. And it's not even her house. It's, her parents don't even like it because she's a meth head. So she has that. So she's driving around the public all the time. Now, the sheriff's department, obviously, she's not supposed to be able to sell narcotics and, all these things. But she does, and, obviously they don't care. Nobody's gonna care. If you're kind of a prostitute for the sheriff's department, they'll let you commit crimes and get away with things. One thing to remember about sheriff's departments, law enforcement, and different things, there's a lot of good cops and there's a lot of bad cops. They're actually taught when they're beating somebody down to say, quit resisting. And through the videos, you can see some of the times that is justified and many times that isn't. Now with cameras, you can record a lot of these things. But the other thing too is I go to the gym a lot. I'm 45 years old, a grandpa, and I can still put up almost 400 pounds. That's why I said I'm not scared to scrap with anybody. But at the gym, a lot of the people, you can always get steroids through the cops. Okay, I know this personally. And so if you wanted steroids, you can get them through the cops, and they're using the steroids. Well, this is a felony thing. All of the United States, steroids are a felony. So they're okay to commit a felony using the steroids. You see how the doors open up in different areas. And when you're justified under these surveillance programs and you think you're doing a great job for your community, even though you're using felony steroids, but the bad guys are these guys, so you're going to do some techniques that are not only gray area, they're downright illegal, And that happens all the time. So the people like Amber and these different people, or if I go into the gym, there's just tons of people. There's a guy, Bill, a few houses away, same thing, does things, and he'll damage house and vehicle and things when I leave, and he's right in the area, so they use people closest if they're home. This Dave guy likes to badmouth me through different people within religious activities or church or things like that. Melissa, Lindsay, the line goes on and on and on. They get a few bucks and they turn informants, and then they coordinate with these other people, and it's just really a sick mixture of individuals that many of them are selling drugs and committing crimes themselves. But they kind of have the okay, not written or anything, but they're not going to get arrested because one, their license plates are marked, so they won't pull them over, but two, you know, they're not supposed to be doing these things, but obviously when they're doing all the work for them, they're allowed to do these things. So I don't want to get stuck on that yet. So Amber across the street put her sister told me, put a video camera to watch my house 24/7. So she is valuable to them because she can be around me all the time because I actually live here. They lie to civilians and offer money to other people's homes, and this works with different ways. Like if they suspect drug dealing stuff too, they can go talk to a homeowner and say, hey, can we set up a camera, blah blah blah, or can we, you know, use your house for a time because we're doing this operation and such. And that's real common. And they'll put surveillance equipment in your house, listening devices, and the whole works too. They have every capability to be able to do these things. If you have an iPhone, the one thing to remember is the easiest way is, you know, they can actually, there's like different viruses and things and spy stuff that can go into your phone through that cellular network, but if they have physical access, it's best. But if you reset on iTunes, especially from like a library computer or anything else, that does clean your computer, or clean your phone, just as good as brand new, and it starts back up. But all your phones are identified, so Apple knows when you go online, you use Safari and you use different things, you use Google and stuff. When that phone goes into a certain website or whatever, that it's not only just IP address, but they can tell that this iCloud account belongs to this person. You know, it's number 5369, blah blah, you know, blah blah blah. So there's always a digital signature to all these things. But the best way, like I said, reset, do a full factory reset of your phone on iTunes, and that'll, you know, make it totally clean for a short time until they can corrupt it again. Let's see, you know, Bill, the neighbor guy, has gone into my house, broke things in my garage and stole things and stuff, and he's another drug addict, smokes weed, and I actually turned him in because he was taking advantage of an elderly man, totally ripping him off, stealing his money, stealing tools, and forcing him to, he was forcing him, the guy, to give him payments to fix his own house, and then he was trying to get the guy to give him that house. So I mean, we're talking thousands and thousands of dollars. So I went to the county and turned him in, and right away he was the guy that was told that I had done that, so they put him on the list, you know, as an informant and as one of these surveillance people to come against me. So he has a hatred for me, so he loves doing this. And you know, he's done other things too, like throwing lemons and things and eggs and rotten fish and sardines in my car and stuff like that. They work with different lock and key shops, also keysmiths for entry into all your homes, or combination type items, you know, safes, whatever, they can get into easily. And safes, just so you know, when you buy a safe, if it's a combination or something, they always put codes on the safe, so all the sheriff's department does is call the safe manufacturer, gives them that code, and then right away they give them the combination to open your safe, so your safe isn't even safe any longer. The same with the, like I said, if they want to get into your car to harass you, they can have a key cut right from your VIN number, and then your house, so people can come out, pick the locks in your house or whatever. They have full access to this. This is the sheriff's department. They, you know, claim it for the legal use things, and that's what it's intended for. But it's misused by these people that think they're above the law, and they're really sadistic and causing problems to many people. You know, but you figure too, you know, let's say you have, if you look up Freemasonry police and Freemasonry police badges and things on Google, you'll see pictures of Freemason police, and they'll be like Master Mason from Chicago, and they'll have the Masonic board and stuff. It's all Luciferian doctrine. They study the teachings of Albert Pike, and everybody I've always known, they wanted me to be a Mason. All of those guys read the Satanic Bible, different Aleister Crowley books, and tons of stuff on Albert Pike and magic, witchcraft, and all these different things. So you got to remember, some of these individuals that are in law enforcement, they're proudly Freemasons, and then they also study Luciferian doctrine and do satanic rituals at Masonic lodges. And you can Google all this stuff, and I can give you full documentation from their own books, okay? And then on top of that, they jack themselves up with steroids. So they think that you're slave, their master, and that's why when the beatings get out of hand sometimes, I'll give any cop credit that, you know, if they're on a police chase and they're running after somebody, the adrenaline's high and they're grabbing that person, they might rough them up a little bit, and anybody could do that. I have no problem with that. But when you see videos of them torturing and beating people and allowing their police dogs to rip into people and sick them on purpose and stuff, that's a whole different category. So the demonic actions of these individuals that are doing certain things in Luciferian doctrine, satanic rituals, and part of a fellowship of a bunch of idiots, and then they also go and jack themselves up on steroids, so their emotions and different things are out of control. That's when they rage, and that's when they hurt people. So it's pretty sad. Okay, so let's get back to this. Okay, I talked about the keysmiths and stuff, the lock and key shops. Yep. All they need is your car VIN number. Their locksmith friends will copy key, open the car. Let's see. So if they mess with your car a lot, that's the thing, is like if you drive to another state, they just call ahead and then that other state does their dirty work for them, and they're all, you know, buddies in sickness in this whole deal. So I told you about going to the gym, and many people have told lies about me and slander my name to make people at the gym, you know, to isolate me and have people try not to talk to me that much, or think that if I do talk to them, I'm trying to hit on young girls, or I'm trying to, I might be a possible rapist, or, you know, I'm a felon, or things, which are total lies. But they'll say whatever, you know, if they know about the individual, they're going to tell them things that relate best to that person being turned off by having communication with somebody else that's on the list and being targeted for the surveillance. Let's see. Oh, and then I was just going to tell you, like, you know, the funny thing is like, you got to remember these people, you know, that are going to Masonic lodges, studying Albert Pike, satanic rituals, Luciferian doctrine, and you can Google all this and see it in their own books. The cops using steroids, their violent police brutality. There's cops on YouTube telling that that they were actually trained to say quit resisting while they are abusing somebody and brutalizing someone and assaulting someone illegally. And these people too that are following you around, like I said, if you go grab them or you push them, they're going to do like on the NBA and fall down and skid their arms on the ground and stuff, so they can hopefully try and show some blood or something. But they want to show more than just, oh, he pushed me. They don't want a disorderly conduct. They want an assault with some damage, so that you have to go to jail, get bail. They can go to your family, tell them they're worried that your violence, they're going to watch them, you know, and that they can work through that, okay? So everything's projected ahead to cause as much chaos against you as they can. So like even you know, with a cop, the prosecuting attorney tells the cops what to say. So when they go into court, the prosecuting attorney meets with them and tells them, like a little puppet, what to say, for the best possible chance of winning the cases. So even if it's not the truth, that's what they say. And I'll give you an example. If I punched myself in the face and was bleeding and rubbed the blood over on your hand, I grabbed your hand, I punched myself and I was bleeding, came up to you, rubbed your hand with my blood on it, fell down on the ground, said, help, help, he just assaulted me, he's trying to kill me, blah, blah, blah. The cops come show up. You've got blood on your hand. You tell them, no, he's full of crap. He came up and rubbed that blood on me, and you're bleeding, and you play the victim. When you go to court, you're going to lose. Even though you were innocent, you're going to lose. So the prosecutor's going to come in and tell the cop to say, hey, you know, I seen him, you know, kind of grab the guy sideways, and blah, you know. So the story changes quite a bit. So you got to remember that. A lot of people that satanic ritual abuse and different things, from the Masons and Freemasons and Satanists and different things, when they go to turn this in, if they turn it into the wrong cop that's actually a Freemason and doing satanic rituals and Luciferian doctrine and doing these things through the lodge, the higher level members, obviously that person is going to get blacklisted, and they're going to try and do absolutely nothing about this that they can. I felt bad. There was a girl online that was a satanic ritual abuse, and she was trying to get her story out there, and they had started gang stalking her, and that's how they work, you know. So if you want to come against them and things, you know, these are things you have to deal with. And like I said, even if the highest man of the land, let's say Trump decided to take a look at this, right, which somebody very high should, the cops are going to cover their tracks and come up with informants that are going to lie and slander you and put you in a position where the cops are like, hey, we have a confidential informant that's a very reliable witness we've used many times, and he said that this person's a violent gang member. He said that this person's a violent rapist. He said this person might have ties to a terrorist network. That's why we're investigating and surveilling them. That's how they cover the tracks. With the Sheriff's Department coordinating the systematic 24/7 surveillance, stalking, they're able to trail you from city to city and state to state. I already told you that. And it's real easy. It's just a phone number to another police department, and they have computer networks and things, so it all goes out, alerts and whatever they want. Other countries do the same thing also. The illegal things that the gang stalkers have done to me personally, and this is where it's illegal, so they're supposed to be able to surveil you and psychologically keep you confined and controlled, but they're not supposed to do illegal things against you, and these people aren't supposed to be using illegal narcotics and selling drugs and doing things themselves, but they do. So breaking into my home, you know, I've had a document coming home and they'd let animals out running around my house and stuff out of lock cages and things. I thought that was funny. And many different things like that. Lots of, you know, dead animals and stuff. Lie to people and say that I'm a felon, slander me, and totally, completely lie. Even saying that I was a child molester to other people. Breaking in my car, slashing the steering wheel, damaging the paint, slashing tires. I think I've had... This has been going on for a while now, so, but I mean, probably, I think 5 or 6, at least. It's somewhere around that. It's at least 5, okay? Tires actually stabbed and slashed, and like I said, the vehicle, break into the vehicles, cut up the steering wheel with knives. You know, you park your car somewhere. Not only do they drain the battery, but they will actually drain the battery completely dead, take the battery terminals off and pull them backwards so you know that it's not possible that like the battery went dead, because obviously the battery cables are often bent back up. I've had razor blades in my shoes. Go to put a shoe on, all of a sudden I feel something, pull it out, tip it over, and I've got razor blades in my shoes. That's happened 3 times. Glass in my dryer. Somebody took a bunch of light bulbs, and I had a load of clothes in the dryer, and while I was gone, they were in my house, went into the dryer, and the broken glass went along with my clothes and stuff. And constantly breaking things of mine too, you know, within the house, outside the house, in my garage. I would leave the garage, and then I can't even drive into the garage because things in the garage they would take and break and throw inside there. The surveillance cameras, they would break those cameras. And the worst thing that's happened to me is I was downtown, and there was a lot of times where I'd park in a parking ramp and I'd go downtown and stuff. So I'd go park in the parking ramp, and you know, they know your movements and things, so I go in and park in the parking ramp, and I go, and all of a sudden a brick had came off the parking ramp, and it almost hit me in the head. It would have killed me. It landed probably maybe 2 feet from my head. A full brick was thrown down at me. I had actually ran over to that ramp, and I ran up those stairs, and I was going to destroy the person that threw that brick at my head. I mean, that's when I was actually targeted to be hurt bad or killed. It nearly hit my head. It was about this far away. So I ran up there, and like I said, I'm not scared of these guys. I think they're pussies. And, you know, I go to the gym, I work out, I can street fight really well. I follow Christ now, and I want you to know that that's another comfort too, is a lot of people aren't going to, and that's not your thing. But I want you to know that that is something for me, and it's comforting too, because you can see the evil of these people and the demonic activities that they're doing when you're into the scriptures and stuff, because it's everything opposite of good. You know, they're really trying to systematically break you down, isolate you, destroy your finances, destroy you. They don't give a shit about your children or anybody else. Okay, they want you in the end to commit suicide. And my buddy, who was magically dead after telling me this about a month and a half later, he told me too, he said that was the ultimate goal. And the thing is that they would actually have parties. And he said, you know, one of them he went to when they celebrated. But anyways, he told me, you know, they would party and get together and everybody would high five and they'd be all happy that somebody had taken their own life. And then they just, you know, stay on that list and the same thing's coordinated. So the demonic activity within the hearts of the people that are within this program, you know, like I said, some of them start out really thinking this is good, but then they feel above the law and the evil sets in and they're doing very evil, hateful, wicked things against people to try and destroy them, you know, whether it be their minds or their social life or different ways of them. So, you know, that's the sad thing about it. And even those people too, they know that they never want to be on the list. So that's why you have a hard time having anybody come forward. So I feel very blessed that my friend Josh had told me those things. I miss him very dearly. You know, things that ease your mind, getting involved with like maybe a church group or something, even if that's not your thing, they will talk to the church and badmouth you and tell all kinds of lies too to get people in the church to be cautious of you. But the thing is they can't get to everybody. And if you're around people and you're listening to some of the Bible and stuff like that, it's really good. And if this has really bothered you too, I would ask you to listen to an audio Bible of the New Testament, and you'd be surprised. Some of that can change your life, and it can give you a little bit of comfort. Because you're going through hell, and the tools they're using are demonic, and a lot of these guys are doing satanic rituals, Luciferian doctrine. And like I said, all you have to do is Google Freemasonry, Albert Pike, who is their big hero guy, and his books. And the Luciferian doctrine, the satanic practices, the satanic rituals, these are real. I used to dabble in the occult. That's how I knew these guys. I was, you know, when I had problems before too, I remember, I knew like Josh and stuff, and we'd hang out a lot and stuff too, but I was dabbling in the occult. And when I was asked to be a Mason, you know, they were really offended when I didn't want to be. But when we talked about these things before, and you know, they would actually do like blood rituals and different things, with birds, with, you know, rabbits or different animals, and then with goats and things, and it actually, but just the specifics of this and gangstalking is it's the exact same type of thing they do to surveil somebody, a high-level drug dealer, a terrorist suspect, you know, this and that, or they'd surveil somebody that they suspect that the husband might have killed the wife, but they have to get proof of that, you know, so they're monitoring their phone bills, they're following them constantly, where they're going, GPS locations, and triangulating everything and using different algorithms to come against these people. It's the same thing, but this way, they're using the exact same tools that are available through law enforcement in a perverted way to harass you, to try and isolate you, manipulate you and your movements, and then ultimately, a lot of people commit suicide from this. So it's a very sick things, and a lot of individuals involved in it are sick individuals themselves. And even if they start out with the right intentions, being around those type of sickos, they start to become the sickos themselves. So anyways, I hope this was helpful. If you have any questions, this video, you know, my heart was moved because, like I said, I watched a video of this guy that it really bothered him. So I left him a long message and even my phone number to contact me because he's going through this. So I hope he finds some comfort and it'll fill in areas that he's been suspecting already. And once you realize that it's a coordinated effort, government funded and run by the Sheriff's Department, and it's almost exactly as the same surveillance tools, techniques, Stingray, you know, and different tools that they use to monitor and follow people that are suspected of illegal activity. They're using this on civilians, you know. And these cops, just like a cop has an unwritten rule not to tell on another cop, it's the exact same thing. These guys actually sign agreements, and there's confidential informant agreements and things, and they'll actually have, you know that, hey, you can never talk about this to other people involved, or you could get on that list. So anyways, I hope that is helpful to many of you, and I didn't realize this was going to get this long. It seems like every time I do a video, it gets longer than I intended. But I'm, you know, a victim of the same thing right now and dealing with this myself. The hatred for me is because of my love for Jesus Christ also, and I proudly preach and proclaim the gospel, and I read my Bible, and I pray, and I love people, and I identify the occult. I actually take the Satanic Bible and show people the satanic rituals and the doctrine of these different things to do that. These are my dogs in the house. They've been quiet and good so far. But anyways, I'm going to get going. If you get a chance, check out some of my other videos. I want you to know that I care about you, and you're not alone, and I think we should start a group. Zoe, my dog is pushing the camera. I think we should start a group. Come here, Zoe. Come here. Come here. I think we should start a group to go against this and really so other people don't feel isolated and alone, because it's not fair. And like I said, whatever perverted ways they think they can justify doing this, there are certain ways to do things and the intentions of why that program even originated, and now it's perverted. And when they're going illegal routes and doing things that are illegal against you, this is law enforcement actually doing that, so that's not right, and that has to stop. But anyways, you guys take care, and I don't know what angle the camera's at now, but hopefully it didn't get off too much, so thank you.